Good day. I'm Dr. Don Delusky, and today we're going to be talking about cholesterol and also statin medication, which, as you know, is cholesterol-lowering medication. Now, cholesterol's been vilified as a causative factor in heart disease, but pure science does not support that premise. And let's take a look at some statistics. First of all, if we look at the fact that 52% actually, of all the people that have abnormal cholesterol levels, they also have a heart attack. Now let's take a look at another statistic. 48% of the people that have a heart attack have normal cholesterol levels. So if cholesterol is a causative factor in this issue here, how can that be so? Since almost half the people that have abnormal cholesterol levels still have a heart attack, and the people that have normal cholesterols still have a heart attack. So, what's the culprit? Well, obviously, to the clear and prudent thinker, it isn't cholesterol. It is actually carbohydrates, sugar, oxidation, and stress. These things are the things that produce heart disease. Now, when we're talking about statin medication, there's several different problems associated with statins. Number one, statins can actually cause cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, memory issues. Basically, that's what cognitive impairment means. You lose your memory because the glia cells in your brain, which are nothing more than like support structures, they're made up of cholesterol. As a matter of fact, approximately a third of your brain is made up of cholesterol and other fatty acids. So it's very, very important to understand this because whenever you take cholesterol medication, you actually slow down the function of your brain. Cholesterol medication also that reduces your cholesterol below 200, and certain Japanese researchers have found this out to be the case, that you increase your risk in mortality from all causes of death with too low a cholesterol level. Now, the statin medications do many things to us. First of all, they affect our memory loss, or enhance memory loss, I should say, by destroying the glia cells of the brain. They also contribute to kidney disease and congestive heart failures. Many patients that I've taken care of over the last 32 years, they have post-op surgical issues for triple bypass, etc., and they have very low energy. They feel very run down. They feel very tired. Well, there's a very good explanation for this, is because the same pathway that statin medication or cholesterol-lowering medication blocks, it also blocks our body's energy-producing pathway. So that's why patients that have congestive heart failure, they feel tired, they feel run down, they feel lethargic. And many of them, because they've had a problem with heart disease, they're taking statin medication. So, let's pretend we're on a road, and we have two cars on this road. The first car is what we call an HMG co-reductase, which is the enzyme that produces cholesterol in our liver. Well, statin medication or cholesterol-lowering medication blocks this first vehicle from going down the road. Interesting note, the second vehicle is something called coenzyme Q10. It travels on the same road as that cholesterol enzyme does. So whenever you take the cholesterol medication to block the manufacturing of your body's cholesterol, you're also blocking the coenzyme Q10 pathway. And that's very important because that's what gives your heart energy. And without coenzyme Q10, you will develop congestive heart failure. And many patients that I've seen over the last 32 years that I treat nutritionally have this problem. Also, we have kidney disease, kidney failure. It's also related to taking statin medication. Now, those are just a few of the things that statin medication causes, harmful side effects. But let's take a look at some of the sales of what's happened over the last few years as it relates to cholesterol medication. Now, when the cholesterol level was 240, there was approximately $12 billion in sales. But since the cholesterol level has been lowered to below 200, we've increased those sales to $30 billion. Now, there is nothing that I'm aware of in the scientific journals which say that the incidence of heart disease, even cancer, has come down. It has not. So the incidence of heart disease being the #1 killer in America still holds true, even with significantly increased numbers of individuals taking statin medication. As I said before, 50% of our heart attack victims have high cholesterol, 50% have normal cholesterol level. So cholesterol is not the main culprit here. Now, so what does cause heart disease? Well, heart disease is associated with poor lifestyle choices, not eating the right amount of food, good choice foods that you should eat, eating too many of the bad foods, which the American diet is just laced with, meaning white flour, white sugar, processed foods, high fructose corn syrup, and sugar. Sugar is the real culprit, in my professional opinion, of causing heart disease, and there's a simple reason for that. The body doesn't know how to handle and metabolize, especially fructose. But what happens is when the sugar gets into the body, it damages the internal lining of the blood vessel wall. Just like a hose, the innermost lining of the blood vessel, it becomes affected. And there's little cells in the blood vessel called epithelial cells. And these cells are very important for making the blood vessel being able to open and close. So without that proper amount of open and closing ability, which is destroyed from sugar ingestion, the blood vessel cannot open and it goes through a lot of different changes, which leads to plaque buildup because we're actually damaging our body's blood vessels. And so when we damage our body's blood vessels, that's when cholesterol comes in to do the repair process. So cholesterol is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. In closing, many cholesterol medications actually produce an increase in wall thickening when taken. They rob your memory, especially if you're a woman. And by all means, if you've never had a heart attack or a stroke, there is no benefit whatsoever in taking any cholesterol medication to prevent a first-time onset of heart or stroke. However, if you have had a stroke or a heart attack, then there is benefit from the cholesterol medication. But today, cholesterol medication is way overprescribed. An interesting note as we conclude today's discussion on statin and cholesterol is the fact that the individuals who serve on the panel or the board or committee to regulate these new cholesterol numbers, they have a vested interest in the pharmaceutical industry, a direct tie with the manufacturers of statin or cholesterol-lowering medication. So the clear and prudent observer and thinker must ask the question, how objective can they be when they put these new numbers out, which is going to drive the profit margins for their particular product? I'm Dr. Don Delusky. Tune in next time for another edition of Good Health.